the State Farm Analyst desk. Cloud9 and CLG are about to take to the Rift, but with such all over the place performances from both of these teams here in week 4, we thought we would go ahead and head over to Reddit for a reality check on these unreadable teams. Are you ready, Analyst?
Hit me!
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. First one we got up on the docket. Let's take a look. So everyone says that, I'm gonna look over here. Everyone says they want more chances for Academy talent, but then flames Sven on his first game out of Academy. Wow. Slanty face. Give him time to grow, guys.
I don't know what to say to that. It's a meme.
Yeah.
It's like, are we saying that Sven is, not the problem? Because then I'd agree. Are we saying that he is the problem, but he needs to get better? I don't know.
I was going to say, are people actually flaming Sven? I didn't realize that because typically I like to stay. So, this is I guess, analyst thing. I typically like to stay away from social and also away from, co-streams I like to watch because I want to be able to, form my own opinions and just kind of have it in a vacuum. I didn't know people were flaming Sven, though, because I think him coming back on, we've talked about this, it's been not, I think he hasn't performed super, poorly, but I also think it's obviously C9 have other team issues that haven't been mitigated with him coming back.
See, I'm the opposite. I read everything online to just
you live there?
Formulate a general consensus opinion that I can give, and therefore no one gets mad at me. But I actually don't think there's been that much flame for Sven. I think it's to your point that it's mostly people being like, well, C9 clearly have issues, and it's not all tied to Sven or King or anything like that.
It's almost
cool.
whether...
This is a good comparison then.
Yeah, different spectrums.
You can bring the will of the community and I can just be like, oh, I'm in my own weird vacuum place.
Yeah. I think some were maybe hoping that Sven would come in, lock in real quick, be right back to old C9, but that hasn't been the case so far.
That's called copium.
Oh, no.
We got plenty of it around here. All right, next one that we've got, Sultans of PA. It's got to be really frustrating to play with the GOAT Western player when he plays a bottom 3 LCS mid.
Whoa!
It feels impossible from a team perspective to criticize his play. Hopefully, Perks is beating himself up.
So this is funny because it's a little bit of the G2 energy where, when Perks was on G2, those players would often have games where it'd be like, oh, are they trolling? And they're trying weird picks. They're playing over aggressive and they're letting games get away from them. And it just feels hard to criticize such tenured players in the regular season of all things, where it's they still have all this time to get it back together. And then are you going to be the idiot who flamed them in week 4 when there's, next championship?
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person, but at the same time, it is a little painful to watch some of these games.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I'm sure Perks is beating himself up. No player, believe it or not, no player actually wants to come out and perform badly, which maybe people don't believe that, or maybe they think it's a very, Emily, that's an oversimplification, but I do firmly believe that no player wants to come out and perform really badly, right? So obviously, then I guess we're looking at the Renekton games, which, you know what, Summer still has a lot of games. C9 are in a really strong position in the standings because they do carry over from Summer. So I think this is kind of the perfect time to experiment with that. And I guess you kind of know that you're going to get flame for it. But I feel if not now, then when? And obviously it hasn't worked out, right? So we already stopped playing the Renekton.
The only scary thing is that Summer last year was a similar thing where it's oh, C9 are just trolling for a little bit and it just kept going on. So we'll have to see if they can turn it around.
Yeah, a man like Perks, though, he's definitely competitive, definitely beating himself up if I had to guess it. Shifting over to the CLG side, though, we got some Reddit polls for that. I think our solo laners and even Broxa are playing way too selflessly. They're all willing to play so selflessly that no one is strong enough to hard carry these fights. While Turtle is aggressive, which is good, but we need our solo laners to step up. Both gamers this week show that our step up is pretty good, and we landed the CC, but if there's no damage to follow up, it's all for nada.
Yeah, okay, so off camera, I was waving my arms wildly. Pick me for this. You know what happens when you don't have lane priority.
You lose the game?
Not necessarily, but this is something that I've been harping on with CLG just because when you're going to have a position where you end up giving up lane prio due to the matchup because you want that specific champion to be able to tie into a greater team comp, you need to find a way to be able to mitigate that somewhere on the map. And I think when we have seen CLG, and I am actually not criticizing CLG for sticking to this playstyle, because if this is the playstyle they want to play, I like that. Like, I like the fact that they have a team identity. And if they wanted to make tweaks to this playstyle, maybe it is to give at least one of your lanes really solid priority, because that just, it helps out your jungler so much. It changes the map. It's really good. I'm sure it's something they're already aware of as a team, but like, that's a choice that they've been making. And so I think when you're talking about solo laners not performing well, sometimes it has to do with losing lane prio.
And I think sometimes, like, it's not just the lane, it's also the team comp. Because sometimes you're like, oh, well, this is a good pick. It's not great for my lane, but it's good for my team. But it's not also actually good into the enemy team. So, like, you're drafting all this engage. And you're like, well, I'll take Lissandra for more engage, right? This is something we've talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you pick it into a Karma, and it's like, okay, that's not a great lane matchup. But also in a team comp sense, it's actually just not a good pick in team fights either. It's like the low damage engage doesn't kill anyone. Karma shields everybody, and they run out from it. And, like, that's one of those situations where, like, yeah, you try to do something that's right for the team comp, but it's also actually not that great, versus like a Malphite top, which is like, oh, it's weak in dilution, I'm gonna get pushed in, but then they have an immobile 80 carry on the bot side who's the actual threat. Like, that's a time where you're sacking your lane for your entire team, but also you're doing it in the context of the enemy team's team comp as well.
Got another CLG one for you to round it out here.
All right.
With our Reddit talk. All right, damn, is this summer 2020 again? Bottom 2 in spring, run it back, get a few lucky wins. Other teams make roster changes, no more wins, CLG 9.
Wow, that's, I don't remember summer 2020 that well, I guess, but
All haze for everyone.
that's some sadness right there.
That just makes me feel bad. But I mean, I think the one thing to play the opposite side of what I just said in terms of like punting lane priority, which I still dislike, I do appreciate that they have found the style, right? And it's something, like, I actually kind of want to know how Moon approached this, like, where he's like, you know what? This worked really well for the Academy team, and I know it sounds crazy, guys, but we're going to go for this, like, Vi Galio comp. Like, I kind of want to know what the discussion was for that, but I like it. I appreciate that they at least wanted to have this kind of really cohesive team identity. And now it's just a matter of, in my opinion, like, tweaking it so you're not giving up so much to commit to it.
That plus, like, individual players still need to play well. Even if we think you win draft, like, if you take a blast cone to 5 people and insta-die as an 80 carry, like, you're probably losing that game. I don't care what champion that was.
Gut check, though.
That was unlucky.
Yeah.
Does CLG feel like a 9th place team? Because that's kind of where the end of that was pointing to.
How do I dip out of frame?
Yeah,
Do I need to answer that?
Wait, how short does this make me? I don't know.
Doesn't go any
below
further.
9 inches.
Stop the single on me. Go to Gabby.
I'll save you.
Look at how short
We'll catch you all on the other side, everybody, for the clash of Reddit Kings when C9 take on CLG. See you there. Get your seat back up.
I
here,
don't
Mark.
even know how to.
They've got to get the Mountain Drake here if they want to have any chance of being able to salvage this game, but no! It's stolen away at the last moment with a beautiful smite to end this game. GG, well played!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am Freak. That is Kobe, and we have some business to, boom, attend to. Yes. To take care before we jump into Champ Select with our lane report card yesterday and the constant stream hot takes from Reddit. We've been really enjoying being able to feature our fans here on the broadcast. It really is incredibly meaningful to us, especially where we are still very far apart from most of you. I appreciate having you over here. I got to say, it was a really highlight of my week, so soon one day. But we want to say an extra special thank you to Tasty X Jujubee on Reddit for their kind words. You make our rough days better too, and we wanted to send a little something to you from us. So you'll be receiving a rocket, cone, mouse, and Vulcan keyboard. It's upside down. Normally they're right side up. From our peripherals partner, Roccat, just as soon as you hit us up back on Reddit. So check your DMs, bud. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming together on social media. I really do love the internet. I wouldn't have a job without one. So really, thank you. It's been great. The one downside is Medic's Twitter game is bad. He called me a bowling ball. He's not very smart. That's okay. Whatever. You should.
I don't see any holes for my.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense at all. The man. Maybe he has X-ray vision. That's what it's about. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is, we have a game of League of Legends coming up soon, Kobe. Cloud9 and CLG teams on literal opposite edges of the spectrum at the end of spring. A lot closer here today.
Yeah, and considering they're both coming off of losses into this game, they are equally hungry here. CLG, they lost another one there with the Lissandra mid, Rakan bottom for some more hard engage looking to force some fights, but Cloud9 with the attempted Enchanter look and bringing out Blabber's famed Kindred, also not finding them any sort of success. So looking to retool.
Couldn't get the early game to work. Didn't think of the Azir ban. That was the clutch 10th pick from 100 Thieves. I will say, though, every team to me loses to 100 Thieves in the LCS. So I'll give a pass on that one, but I want to see Cloud9 be in top 3 form because they haven't been, and the expectation is that they should be. Final ban to come through for CLG. Will it be more of the Vi, Lee Sin, Galio kind of look? Cloud9 have banned a Kalista. A lot of teams do that. They've banned a Set and a Renekton away from Finn. Okay, sure. But all the core components are still here on the CLG side.
They certainly are. Early first pick, Lee Sin. I like the flexibility. Every time I see it picked, I want it to be a Blabber Lee Sin. Fudge has had his time in the sun, you know. He's been riding off the highlight plays from MSI. I want to see it in Blabber's hands for once. So we'll still hold out hope. But CLG, they get their Galio freak. Yep. Guess what? The same game plan is going to come. Hard engage, straightforward, everybody in, Galio on top, probably in the hands of Pobelter.
Almost certainly going to be the case. I want to know what else can happen. Of course, we have seen other teams put Galio in support. Doesn't seem needed on the CLG side, but leave the option open with the early grab. I think you wouldn't see any more mid lane bans, for example, and maybe they can still do that and make the Champ Select look interesting. CLG have to know they are predictable in these picks and bans. They do not care. It is a style that went 3-0 in the last week, but they're looking at the barrel of a 0-3 in this one after losses on Friday and Saturday. Cloud9 still grabbing the who's who of champions. Rumble left on the table. They don't care. Diana is better. She's good at starting fights. I think she's the better jungler personally. Lisa and Nocturne, super premier solo lanes, especially with someone like Gwen off the table. They say, look, AD top, AD mid, AP jungle. This is the style we're going to play. And there's the Vi.
Jungle OP roll free. Cloud9 pick 3 jungle champions.
That's true.
A boom.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I've seen the opinion on the internet that like, oh yeah, the jungle champions bad top laners that don't get played top lane anymore. It's like, actually, top laners and mid laners are those junglers who don't want to play those champs anymore.
Actually, there are changes to the champions over every year, and both things have been true at different points in time, so it matters when you make these statements.
Yes, it does.
I like it, though. CLG right back on track with the tried and true Vi plus Galio. Big punch into big ultimate from Galio, covering the giant AoE. Magic shield as well. Pretty good value versus Diana.
Kobe, I just gotta. This is the last game we will ever cast of not Old Tahm Kench. This is the last time Old Tahm Kench could have been played. He is dead and gone from League of Legends. I, for one, embrace new Tahm Kench. I think he's a way cooler champion. Banned away. Never again do I have to cast Devour in lane. Free 6. I'm happy about it.
You know what? Can we get some bench the Kenches in chat? Because
Bench the Kench
this
in
is the
chat.
last time that old Kench will ever be benched, as he is
True.
banned away and will not get picked in this game. So our last fleeting moments of even seeing the icon.
It's grayed out. He's bidding farewell. Not allowed back into the LCS, never again. Now, Braum is still left up. Guillot, with Immortals, obviously went for a really good counter-engage comp where they could withstand the first hit and then just take the battle afterwards. I'm glad we got the Knuckle Sandwich coming through. And so as Leona is dropped off the table, again, thinking that, yeah, Galio maybe is more likely to be mid. Viego as a top lane ban. CLG can make some final adjustments. And then we need to see Cloud9's bottom lane.
And I don't want to see Sven on one of these low mobility AD carries. I'm looking for some from defensive properties. Yes, Ezreal is paramount. He's the go-to pick, but as we've mentioned, the Xayah as well can fare quite well into Vi Galio combination.
I like it. Yep, love it.
There you go. And it is. The Xayah finally gets in there. We get the entire Lovers duo. I do want to shout out, though, the Kled pick as well. Doinby still finding success and prominence over in the LPL with his mid look for the little charger, but this one's probably going to be in the hands of Finn, as he is the long-standing history with the champion.
And Nautilus comes through, as it is indeed going to be Galio into the mid lane. If with Galio was support, you'd be really lacking magic damage. So, okay, yeah. Galio mid can obviously build AP. You can see Rocket Pelt. Zonius has some AP on it. Not too bad. Can do decently on that front. So you can't just armor stack and survive. And CLG have a comp I have seen 5-6 times in a row now. They're going in. People have affectionately called it the bongo comp, but I like it. I think they can go in, they hit the R buttons, and they follow up. Just the question is, can they stop the slide? Even the fan votes like, yeah, we love the CLG draft. Keep it going.
I'm a huge fan of the name as well. I had my account was named Bongo Boy for quite a long time, through like seasons 5 and 6, maybe, I want to say. And I went with the same mentality.
Yeah.
that was back my Vi playing days. So
have you ever played bongos?
I have.
I have too.
But it was drunk bongos at a party, and you just see bongos there. It was not well-played bongos.
I played like bongos like it was in school, but you know, like I'm actually musically. So, you know, I don't know who else is a percussionist here in the LCS, but let me know if you are.
I wonder who would be the better bongo player today. My small stint in drunk party bongos, or Freak with his actual attempt at playing well.
One of the few things I'm better than you at, Kobe, is playing drums. So we'll keep that one on the list. The one on the other side much longer. Speaking of things that are good, we've got, I like the Mammoth Flare. Thank you very much, Fudge. We are on to the Rift. Here we go for the last game of the patch in the LCS. 11-13 is coming next weekend with some new items, some new reworks. We got a whole lot of LCS bands ready to go as Cloud9 and CLG do battle to close out the weekend.
You know what I always thought would be a cool thing to have for LCS, especially since level 1 prep is often boring. Maybe we get a level 1 here as Cloud9 are going topside. But I always thought it'd be cool to have, you know, WWE style songs playing for both teams.
Ooh, okay.
And what better song for CLG than Manu Chao, Bongo Bong. I want that sucker playing right now. I recommend to viewers, just if you don't even know what that song is, go YouTube it right now. Start playing that sucker. It's catchy. It'll get you in the mood for this type of game too. Because I feel like we're gonna have a high kill count.
Do you remember like the old internet where people would like embed songs in their websites?
I do remember the old internet.
We are 34, I think, on average between the two of us. I want the CLG subreddit to find a way to embed that song so that when you come in and you go to our CLG, you just get that one going. I think it'd be a good throwback to 20 years ago. Here we go. I was almost in high school 20 years ago. Some of you weren't alive then.
Oh my God.
We are ready to go. The jungles have been started. Blue buff for both sides. Leashless for Broxa. Fudge giving Blabber a bit of help. Shouldn't be almost, by the way, leashes it. It's got like a little bit of patience left.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. It's not going to be a problem here. Just by the way.
The only way would be if you walked way too close to Gromp there at the end and let it turn around that way, but not going to be the case. Easy smite, easy clear for Diana as well. You have a pretty smooth path towards bottom side. Meanwhile, Broxa on the Vi, looking to get a top side ending here. You always want to try and create more room for Kled early on. Oop.
Yeah, I think Turret Shot might be worth it, though, if you think you're going to sustain up with just base regen anyway. Bot lane's trading back and forth not too badly. Finn, always you play really, really aggressive. Level 1 on Kled, you're happy to dismount. You pretty much never have lethal pressure on you at level 1 or 2. So just, like, take the dismount, trade your health bar. You're getting it back anyway. It's just, like, functionally infinite regen. It's been really good.
Yeah, especially because I'm pretty sure they were able to infer topside start from Diana. With the deep vision there, so they know no jungler is going to come up here, mess with you. Finn can go all out on Kled, and that's the best way to play Kled. Meanwhile, Broxah, though, sneaky little route. I believe he got...
I don't think he got seen, yeah.
Just past all the vision. He's right behind him.
Okay, here we go. It's time. Play him. Hit the percussion. We got a fight in the bottom lane. A great anchor pull. They got the Q follows. Ven flashes. He gets the first blood. Beautiful play. But the TP isn't going to mean much. Perks gets a spell shield. He's got to flash away. The taunt. The backwards E. You showed up to the wrong party, buddy. Learn some music. 2-1 CLG off to the start.
Those ain't bongos, freak. Those are the drums of war. CLG make the play bottom side. It was a very good reaction there from Sven, though. As fun as it is to get up on that CLG hype train once again, I think it was at least well played considering the circumstances by Sven. Is able to get the DPS in for the first blood cash in, but guess what? Both kills went over to Vi here for CLG. Broxah going to be set up for some very powerful clear. And Vi is one of those champions that is insanely easy to do dragons solo with because of your denting blows and because of your passive shield. With the extra money here for more cooldown reduction, super early Kindle Gem, keep your eyes on controlling vision around the dragon. Yep, he hugged the wall just close enough to he stayed out of vision. And you know how it starts? Vault Breaker here, really good opening from CLG, but I want to focus on Sven because he's able to flash his Blade Caller over to the side, make sure he gets all of them through Tristana for the early first blood. But again, CLG, the whole theme of this team is full commitment, freak, to the all-ins and to the early plays. So Pobelter down there with the teleport early too. Taunt able to get him in range as well and locks up the extra kill. On to Perks.
The end result, though, is a tied game in gold, or nearly so, because there's a gigantic CS lead for Sven and Vulcan. Their 2-on-2 looked better at the very start, and with Sven getting the first blood, he is just absurdly ahead of Wild Turtle. Now, right now, it manifests in only plus boots. That's not obviously incredibly massive, but this is going to be probably played
Fudge
forward. Yeah, Fudge level 4 to Finn's level 5, trades him down to 300 HP, and the wave is not in a good state for a non-TP recall if he's going to burn it at all.
Yep, just going to try and maybe call
flash
Diana
follow.
over.
That is aggressive, but knew Fudge didn't have a way to jump back. The wave was already there. He knew, had to believe, he knew the trinket was down. So,
yeah.
Okay, flash Q, trade flash. Let's keep going.
You get the pullback on that bear trap, and you get the kill. So good respect there by Fudge. Something you have to pay to Kled early on. Have to pay respect to the all-in of this champion. Yes, it can transition really well with this style of comp later on into the game because you have another means of speeding up the Vi and forcing that all in. But as well, one of the other reasons it is picked is because of the lane prominence early on. Fudge, I will say, though, pretty good responses so far and being able to clean up a lot of that CS. Here's that early dragon we look for with the Vi. As we mentioned earlier, Freak, it's very, very easy for Vi to do it alone, and conveniently enough, also has the pushing bottom lane this time around, so Turtle can come over. Very nice always as an AD carry, and I'm sure you love taking advantage of this, but getting at least an attack or two onto these epic monsters, onto the dragon, is going to help stack up your legend rune for yourself, so Turtle also gets that side benefit.
Yeah, it's like, what, 25 CS gives you a stack, a killer, an assist, or a takedown on an epic monster. You tag it once, a Jinx W, a Jin W will do it, walking over and autoing his Trist. Thank you for like the 1.5% attack speed. That'll last for a while. Here comes the play, topside Nocturne, gets the interrupt on Cloud9. We know he is flashless, Diana's in. They just have too much damage. Good job, Cloud9 with a punish in the top side.
They got their own bongos sitting up here on top side. Everybody roams up, and this is the style that you want to see from Perks. It is roaming around, making use of the strength of Nocturne. Bottom side play was really well turned around by CLG since Pobelter got to teleport down there, but biggest strength of Nocturne is annihilating minion waves and making these roam plays. So you link up the coordination with Blabber on the timing here. This is all positioned while there's a big wave at Finn's turret, and these champions are very well equipped to follow through, even with Finn trying to use the ultimate there. You saw Perks ulting in and getting the quick cancel on it right in front, knocking him out.
Alrighty, so 400 gold lead to Cloud9. Good job on the top side. 2 CS, but obviously being up that kill, it's got to feel really good for Fudge. They get the last hit on that play, landed the long range Q, got the follow. He might have a lot of pressure down here because Fudge was under his turret for a long time, and Finn was pushing him quite a bit. Obviously, he held on nicely. And now we get to see what the rest of the players can do. Is Perks is going to grab most of this farm. Nice job with the active. Make sure he claims his CS. We sit the same 800 gold lead. Mid laners, pretty much identical score lines. Not too different here across these two, but we wait for the next dragon to spawn and we check in on the bottom lane. Well, that's also got a farm lead here for Cloud9. That's why they're ahead in gold for the most part. Faster farm on Blabber, no surprise. Diana versus Vi is pretty much always going to go that way.
Yeah, and that's why, even with a successful CLG 2 kills on bottom side, we wanted to point out how well Sven played it to get the first blood cash in, because guess what? Both kills went to Vi, and Sven's was the one who actually got kill credit and the first blood bonus on it. So with that, in addition to the CS lead, means a lot of pain for the CLG bottom lane. They haven't even recalled until just now, so this is the first purchase for Turtle. All that being said, top side of the map is going to be a very easy Rift Herald for them. So all the neutral objectives have been controlled by Broxa, by CLG. This one going to pay out as well and should catch them up a decent amount at least.
Yeah. The only sad part is it's probably only going to be the 300 gold Rift Herald, right? None of these turrets have even lost a single plate yet, so it's not the upside of finishing the turret.
So you say that, but this team is very well equipped to get kills on lane. So if you use Vi, Galio, Nautilus to get a kill.
Flashless still, he has kick. And they don't go for the ulti. I mean, okay, so he doesn't have it, so he literally can. He can go for the Q and like probably gets kicked back, doesn't go for the play. But there's so much pressure bot side. So okay, Finn's obviously on retreat down here. He's hiding away from bot lane, but it's already going to be, at this point, 2 turret plates taken. Maybe goes for a third afterwards.
Yeah, the first turret's got to be annihilated on top side, though. With Tristana and a Rift Herald.
Someone's early, though.
Well, I think he should have gone. I think he should have gone to hit with Tristana, because yeah, that Rift Herald isn't going to finish it all by himself. Is going to take a little more work. Bottom side, though, you see the minion wave is cleared out, so plenty of time to work with. Like this, being a little bit more efficient, going back down the jungle, clearing out the wards.
All right, so they do finish the turret. You're right, Kobe. The lane swap off of the Herald grab was pretty smart. Again, the turret's going to die a little bit slowly. They're not going to lose first turret. It's not a huge problem. They're denying CS instead. Fudge going to miss gold on that one. He's no longer missing XP. Down goes the turret. All the gold goes to Wild Turtle, so, you know, shot ahead rapidly. But keep in mind, first turret gold is worth the same as basically a plate. It's 150 versus 160, so it matters, but it's not huge. If Cloud9 can get the rest of these plates down here, they'll have about as good of a play.
And still looking now with Finn, Pobelter, and Broxa all having ultimates available. Yeah, Smoothie's still level 5, so doesn't get to use his yet. They have the possibility of you know, pulling off that big bongo play towards the dragon. 39 seconds left on Infernal Dragon. CLG got the first one, so whenever you hit this 45-second around that mark, you want everyone recalling, getting your control wards, getting in place so you can try and set up and really punish. Smoothie now is level 6, so he's got ultimate ready for this fight. You're looking at using those onto one of these squishier members, either the, you know, honestly, Blabber is quite a good target, doesn't have a stopwatch yet or anything, has funneled all his money into finishing Riftmaker before this fight, so a lot of combat power, no boots for himself though, so if you catch him in, you know, out in the river, doesn't have much move speed at all to get away from the engage.
All right, CLG dives on in, Fudge shoves in the wave, he's got recall started and TP available, he can join in. We know that the rest of C9 are sticking around as well. Finn going to see that TP. They know exactly what's going on. He can do a little bit to damage him, but this is going to be a full-on 5-on-5. Perks waiting in the wings. Gets a full reveal. Nice job with the Scryers. Blooms to spot this one out. Does CLG still feel good? Galley, of course, going to dunk over the top. Brock's going to start it out. Smite's going to be big for both junglers. 900 is going to be the number. When does the fight begin? Here comes Cloud to the backside. Fudge going to mark that one. Nocturne turns out the lights. Here's the first dive. A knockout comes in. Gallia, when is he showing over the top? The health bar's getting low. Perks just in a bounce house right now. Brock's forced to get away. Perks flashing out. And Finn has to flash to get away as well. So soul lanes for both teams have lost that summoner spell. CLG letting the Scuttle Crab heal on backup. Finn should not die under the turret, but CLG do not look able to win the battle. So Cloud9 group up. Fudge goes for the play, the kick, the follow. Cannot find it. Has to go back out, loses flash, but all that said and done, Cloud9 get the dragon.
Yeah, CLG did not learn from Napoleon. They're fighting a war on two fronts, and they lost both fronts, Freak. Big props to Cloud9 on being able to focus fire. You saw Fudge on the bottom side winning the 1v1 with Finn. He deflected the Kled ultimate, then all of Cloud9 turn on Blabber's big engage. Perks immediately Nocturne ultimate going in there. So they win the early health exchange on Finn on the bottom side front of that war, and then top side, they win with the AoE Diana engage, Nocturne on top, forcing Broxa to queue out. So no blood shed there, and yet a huge resounding victory for Cloud9, grabbing the dragon.
Alrighty, Mythic's coming across now. First major item is going to be completed, mostly post-combat. Again, as you mentioned, Blabber did have Riftmaker, but he was the only one with anything. As Kraken Slayer and Essence Reaver come through for the Marksman, the early first blood for Sven and Farm lead somewhat tempered by the fact that, yes, CLG did get the turret, and Cloud9 has not answered all those plates or that turret yet. So the turret gold, meaning this game is close as far as the wallets are concerned. Dragons 1 for 1. And nice, Pobelter got in range to claim that turret plate. Some more money in the pockets. Plates falling in 30 seconds, and now the marksmen are sitting in mid lane, clearing back and forth.
Honestly, Xayah Rakan is a really easy and safe shift towards mid too. So putting Sven Vulcan here to hold mid lane for Cloud9, going to do wonders for them. They do see the wards starting to get cleared out. They know that the Gallia ult should still be down from last fight, so they just retake here.
Pobelter's around, good smite. It's going to be Blabber claiming red, no problem. Couldn't quite hand it over to Ven. That's not going to be a huge issue, but here comes the dive. They want Diana, and she may just do what her first syllable says. No, just barely. Vulcan will drop, traded back, 2 for 2 so far. Pobelter, his days are numbered, and it's Cloud9 who wins that fight +1.
Woo, the Blade Color's doing a lot of work, Freak. They get Blabber, but a huge cost for CLG because not only do they give up the extra member, but again, you give up priority on the map. So many wards invested in this red quadrant of the jungle. Look at how CLG just lit this thing up. And yet, big response there from Cloud9. Nocturne is such a good pick versus this team because you have instant traversing over the rest of this jungle, getting the extra kill here. Blade Caller is huge for all this AoE damage on everyone stacking up when it is an all-in bongo-style fight. Here's another look at it. Everybody in all these melees, and you see Sven piling arrows in, and then he offensively uses his ult to rip it through. The big AoE comes on the backup as well. You get Diana AoE, then perks come in, Q, Nocturne passive auto, but he's under attack now.
In the air, knocked up, taunted, and shut down. Turtle gets double buffs, Turtle gets 300 gold. Back on the table, CLG keep the game within 500.
See if they can do anything with it, though. Maybe push in and try and take down this bottom turret. Tristana with the explosive charges should be able to finish that one off.
Smart to wait for the wave when you press E, so here we go. This way you one-shot the caster minions, you get most melees really low, and you get the easy CS, it just saves you a lot of time. You're only ever going to use the E once this whole time, so good timing there. Smart heads-up play. Any good Tristana play knows one, but bring it up. Yeah, he's a very rich man as he keeps going on forward. There we go, 1,000 gold ahead of Sven. Donating turrets to your marksman, oh, it's going to pay itself forward, but the fight still have to look good.
All right, in exchange, opposite side of the map play there for Cloud9. Honestly, whenever we see those power plays, which is a term I really like adopting from hockey, when someone goes in a penalty box, that's basically what dying is in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Because you're off the map.
You made an oopsie.
Exactly.
And you're gone for about a minute.
Watch your mouth as well while you do it,
Yeah, you
Don't
can be out for a lot longer.
Don't all chat as you're walking back to the penalty box. You know what you did.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the rest of your team tries to take the other side. They respect the power play from CLG on bottom side. They give up the bottom turret, but they at least get something back on the opposite side. And second Rift Trail doesn't have quite the same impact as the early one does, but is going to be something.
Kobe, I will tell you, I will say top diff every time when it's like, we win, but our top laner's feeding.
Yeah.
But it's like my friend, I don't do it to randoms, but, I will let my team know.
I have full confidence that you will pull any sort of insult or any sort of joke in that manner when you're playing with friends.
Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome or regardless of the context of the situation.
Doesn't matter if it's right.
Freak's ready to fire away.
I am. I will flame every friend relentlessly, and even if they don't deserve it. Alrighty, onto the map though. Cloud9 looking pretty good. They cracked mid lane outer, and now they're gonna look for a kill bottom side. Good Q into flash. That's a pretty good escape for Broxa, but it's flashed down. Does that matter? Keep in mind now, without Nocturne ult, this could also be a meaningful cooldown that Cloud9 are missing, as CLG pile in looking now for this Mountain Drake. And you see that positioning, not that great. A Mountain Drake is the tankiest of the 4. And no, I mean, doesn't matter. This is good. CLG, it was a nice tip by Cloud9. Really, really good disengage by Broxa. And then as they collapse back down, it's just theirs.
And you see the call too from Cloud9. It's another one of these accepted changes. They teleported Perks up to top side. Maybe they weren't keeping track of Pobelter's teleport, because a good answer from CLG, they actually don't give up the trade this time. So the Dragon achieved, and it is a teleport even exchange. Pobelter's for Perks's in this scenario, which is actually quite nice for CLG, in my opinion, because easier for Pobelter to be able to transition back towards the mid stage and just kind of group up with the rest of the team. Galio doesn't have to ult in. We saw earlier the effect that Pobelter can have with just walking up with these taunts can do as far as zone control. Love using your proto belt early and then going for taunt plays.
We look for the next play again. Honestly, looking for the big Galio plays. You're mentioning, Kobe, that's going to be a big one. But what's nice is kind of both these teams definitely have the tools to start fights out. We've seen Perks try to lead it off cross-map. Obviously, Vulcan on Rakan can certainly engage nicely as top is under fire. And it's a 3v1, so yeah, they're ready to go in right now. Taunt, rocket belt backwards. There's not enough follow-through. Oh, a great setup there. That was so good by Perks. He gets past him with the stride breaker, freeing him back into the team, and that was enough follow-through. Really, really well done by the Cloud9 mid laner. The follow-through is there, but CLG able to keep going. Tristana with her 3rd straight solo turret gold continues to be rich here, while Turtle on 2 full items is the man to watch in this game.
Reminds me, Freak, because earlier you were paying respects to our last salute to Tom Kenshi, benching him one more time in the Champ Select. This is also our last salute to the actual dash on Stride Breaker.
True.
Perks gets a good look at the distance there. It's, funnily enough, going to be even better on Nocturne with the extra stat, with your extra health and your crazy slow. But we get another look at it. It does look fancier nowadays, and being able to just barely keep the range on that tether. That was definitely max range right before breaking. Pobelter's a little bit angry that one did not break.
Here we go, pushing on to Sven. He's gonna be hit up. Knows he can go into the clouds when he needs to, but the re-engage could be good. Flashed over the wall. Galio over the top, just gonna keep them all safe. No push back in for Cloud9. No, they want it after all, but they don't have Xayah in range right now. So here comes the fight, 5v5. We wait for Sven to be dealing plenty of damage. Vulcan now has his teammate, and Pobelter's been left alone to the wind. He's gonna drop 1 for nothing. Good job, C9.
All right, this is Baron available too, Freak. Pobelter down, the heart of the CLG Bongo. See if they actually go for the recalls. They're so low health here. Cloud9 definitely fish around for some Qs here from Fudge. Their turn definitely available, but they don't have any ultimates.
Fudge caught. Fudge almost dies. Jumps back to his team. 100 health left. Baron's going to help him. Gets to the shield. Finn is around, but they can't take the fight just yet. But is enough to force the disengage. Honestly, C9 are so low, there is no way to keep going. So, good job, CLG, to get the damage.
Yes, the reset from Finn is enough to scare them off. Full health Kled comes through at the gates of that Baron with the exchange they had behind it. Definitely well played there to cut off the losses at just those picks, just those kills. Here's another look at the attempt. And this is why Xayah highlighted every time versus dive teams. Sven ults, then instantly flashes, and that Galio ultimate does split off the team, but doesn't get anyone. Blabber then re-engages with the Diana, sucking them in. They dismount Finn, so he's forced out of the fight, has to flash away, and they have to leave Pobelter behind this sacrifice to allow the rest of them to live another day and defend the attempt on Baron.
Turtle just on his way to his next item, though. We're still going to keep tracking this Tristana. Worth noting, though, Gale Force in for Sven. Love that choice. Mobility, I think, is arguably more valuable than the shield. If he's that much of a target, he's probably dying regardless of health pool, but if he can have one more tool for dodging a IQ or one more tool for getting out of range of Galio, that's probably going to be more effective. If he's alive, he's going to kill. I like the choice. But you're still half an item behind Wild Turtle Tristana. With Last Whisper done, he has very good frontline damage.
Certainly does. 30 seconds left on this Dragon, too. We might get to see it in action pretty quickly here. Galio ult about to come off of cooldown, so CLG
going in. Ult pop, decent damage onto Finn. Will lose the first half of the passive. Now going to go right back for more, but the burst is in, and he's not going to survive. But there's a turret just hitting Fudge. Gore drinks his health back up, and Vi can't quite do the rest. He survives it. Great dive for Cloud9, and hey, Mountain Drake spawns in 5 seconds. This should be a freebie on the C9 side after getting that well-earned kill. Smoothie may be caught out here, jumps in. They do not have the damage. There's no way this works well for CLG, but I don't know. Vulcan has to flash to safety. He's on the wrong side of that fight, and now suddenly you can see the Gale Force value. That would have been Sven dying with any other Mythic. Pobelter wants in, gets some poke. He's got to run away. I can't believe CLG found a way to get that fight to work in their favor. They do have a jungler. Cloud9 without smite on theirs may not find a way in, and CLG are going to be on soul point.
This is huge for CLG. A Mountain Soul would change the face of this game. You've got Diana, Nocturne, Burst coming through. Mountain Soul will really do wonders for Wild Turtle. Remember, he is so rich in this game because of a lot of towers. It doesn't stand out on the scoreboard right now because it hasn't racked up all those kills, but he did get a lot of that tower gold, and you see it coming through in the items. He's already got the Last Whisper, so he's trying to build up towards probably Lord Doms coming here through the Tristana. I really like this re-engage from Fudge and Blabber, though. Going back in for the dismount after Blabber has cooldowns to make sure they can go and finish off the Kled. It's just that they need to get a little bit further away from these turrets before the re-engage starts, because this was Nocturne ult used. The reason CLG's Freak is still poking around here when it looks very lost for them is because Perks is still mid, and Nocturne Ultimate having timed out already, he can't join. So Turtle gets free fire time on Vulcan. Perks finally walks his way over now, but they already took him out. Better positioning there. You know, AD carry being able to hit allows them to get the extra person advantage, but we're right back to that replay where it started.
They want that blue buff, and they're going to get it. It's going to be theirs. So that is reinforcements with Perks arriving. They're going to claim it as Pobelter's on the other side of the map. He's going to hide away, get the farm, and wait for the next round of this one. Smite lets Blabber get himself a blue buff, and we get to look at more League of Legends. Now still, it has to be said, Cloud9 have been earning more money every single time. Turret score equal, kills close, but a 3,000 gold lead means better farming. But CLG will flip that script if they can finish Mountain Soul.
They better have been earning more money. The salaries are definitely way higher on that team for sure.
Yeah.
CLG, though, they're spending their money on Vision. Vision around Baron, Vision to try and force C9 into this combo. Sven, though, as you say, he's got everything available. Gale Force, Flash, Ultimate, Heal. Sven has all the opportunities to outplay the CLG bongos.
See if you can keep it up, though. CLG trying to play fairly high tempo, but a couple of wards have been good. Cloud9 able to spot some of the plays. This one around, though, Vi's on the bottom side. This one's not been warded. Cloud9 don't know, but they're not on that side of the map, so they don't have to care just yet. No easy targets here. On reaction, Cloud9 are almost always going to be fine, but it looks like they want it. They're going to run forward. Here comes the dive. Right away, they find Rakan. One who can't get away easily, but no, able to jump back to his team, so Galio can't finish. Diana comes in at 3, pops the Zonias. Into the back lane goes Nocturne. A jump back, but still a fear on the Tristana. Blabber dangerously low. Pobelter going to be dropping soon. Tries to run away. One more auto, and Sven finds the kill. Is there enough of a re-engage? In goes Fudge. Big shield, and it's fun. Forced away as well. Finn can't make the rest of it happen. Everyone got to stay alive. 5 versus 4. Cloud9 get the 1 kill.
The layers to Cloud9's teamfight are so beautiful to watch, Freak. Yes, CLG with the engage on priority target right there. Cloud9 disengage, but there was not even half a second between the time where Galio lands and Cloud9 change from kiting out on that Galio ult to Blabber insta re-engage.
Yeah.
Blabber groups him up with the Diana into Zonias, then Perks goes through for layer number 2. He even popped a stopwatch, and then layer number 3 comes in. As the stopwatch comes out, you see Vulcan go. So beautiful. Here, they disengage until Galio ult is down. Boom, as soon as Galio hits the ground, Blabber is all ready to go. Groups them up. into the back line there for Perks. He, by nature of the Fear Tether, gets Wild Turtle's rocket jump out. Then Vulcan goes in to ensure that Perks doesn't die in coming out of his stopwatch.
Yeah.
This whole time, by the way, the back line is melting the Galio and the CLG side. It's just really well coordinated on their multiple re-engages here for Cloud9. They're not letting any single member be hung out to dry on the front lines.
There's so many small moments in these fights. You can go over these fights like 100 times and find something new every single one. In this case, okay, Vulcan primary target, but they couldn't quite finish locking him down after the Vi ult ended. He was able to jump back to his team, W backwards, suddenly he's out of the chain. On Pobelter's case, his Zonius came in just after Blade Color chunked him to 1/3. He hits that thing in 1/8 of a second sooner. He dodges about 1,000 damage. He's no longer chased down. Suddenly, Blabber's in the wrong spot because a full health Galio is going to taunt you again, and this fight looks a lot harder. And little tiny components of these fights could change the entire landscape of the game.
Also, there's no way that they wanted the Rakan then. If that their champions models are that close.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it does have low self-peel. It does have low health, and is a viable.
Perks spell shields it. Okay, but Rakan is now in. Perks tanks that as well, and they can't go any further. Now, 5 seconds, and here comes the pushback, and Vulcan wants
they do
in.
want him.
Vi tanks it, they go front line, Galio builds a bit of space, Sven's gonna free hit, but he's hitting Aftershock. Taunt comes in, Pobelter knocked around, kicked in, Zonia's popped at the very last second, but he will die easily. Blabber gets a 1-for-0, and what else can CLG even do? It's time to run away. The first engage can't find the kill. Cloud9 always ready for it, and Sven just free hitting every time.
And that's gonna mean no coveted Mountain Soul for CLG. Freak. Cloud9 win the fight before the dragon even arrives, and they get to collect their rewards, staving off that big shield for CLG, turning it right back around. Now, easy to move your vision right back over to the Baron as well. I think during this small timing, CLG very happy to, you see some of these wards. These are freshly placed. You see the expiration date on these 2 wards. For CLG, very freshly placed before the recall. Both control wards still in there on Baron, so just trying to reset on their waves on top side before the inevitable reset on Cloud9.
Yeah, and now that reset's going to mean, as their wallets grow and their item count increases, we're looking at Baron likely to be the objective of the day over 4 minutes on the next dragon, so not going to be a quick option here. So top side is where you look, and hey, that ward's going down.
And I guess if they do continue to use their Vi ult on the Rakan, this time around there's no stopwatch for Vulcan. So maybe they actually get that kill. But it does feel like there is a huge, huge value in trying to force cooldowns out of Diana specifically here. Blabber is extremely strong. With even just with the parts here, has Grievous Wounds, has the Shard for Magic Shred for himself, and is doing a lot to set up on these team fights with the big AoE from ult.
Quick clear. Down goes some minions. And C9 have just been earning more gold everywhere. I mean, look at the entire scoreboard. Top lane, 40 CS. Jungle, 60, 70 CS. Mid lane, 60 CS. Bots close.
It's also not just gold, it's experience. Blabber's almost level 16. Broxa's still level 13 on the Vi. Levels do tremendous things for frontliners diving in there.
Yeah.
And once you get level 16, Diana Ultimate really slaps.
It really does. That's the big power spike, and getting there is going to feel good. You're going to do a lot to that Vi, who is armor stacking, and sure, for good measure, you're against triple AD, but...
Void Staff completed, too.
Yeah, he's huge. Blabber's going to feel really good. 3, 1, and 6. He's been a core component of these team fights. The first engage comes in, and then Blabber comes in to turn it around, and it's been the right place and the right time, and played well every single one. So now, more push in the side lane, but you can see, you mentioned levels. Yeah, 16 to 14. These people are in the same lane against each other. 2 level difference. There's no way you win that fight anymore.
Cloud9 going to take advantage of that fact by cleaning out this last remainder of the vestiges of vision behind Baron. A Scryer's Orb is used. 1 more remains on CLG. Pobelter still has his cooldown. Cloud9 have very, very good turn off of Baron. It goes without saying. So many dashes here. Nocturne plus Rakan possibilities of picking a CLG member off as they try dangerously to get their vision of Baron back.
Well, taking a look at the game overall, I gotta say, it is cool that CLG have their style, but it seems like 1 week's worth of effort and thought and processing has given 3 different teams the tools to play around it. Maybe you already expect C9 to beat CLG, but the comp fits the counter-engage against CLG.
Honestly, I would be tremendously disappointed in the rest of our teams if they were not prepared and did not come in with these counters, because it's so easy to start to list all these, you know, anti-dive champions, Zaya, Tarek, you know, Swain even, Tom Kench, all these things, very, very valuable and should be used when you know what strat they're going to be looking for. Nice move in for CLG though. Again, they haven't given up in their attempts at face checking and keeping track of this Baron. It's during a Cloud9 reset, so they take advantage of the small window where they can move up there without giving up a pick.
1 minute on Dragon. You can be a little nervous on Cloud9's side because, you know, if you win a decent fight, your upside is Baron, which is very good. If you lose a decent fight, your downside is Baron and Dragon Soul. So there's something that tweaks the equation very slightly until you get this Dragon off the table that makes you feel a lot more comfortable. So we might see a little, just a touch more passivity out of Cloud9. They found a good fight, sure, maybe they'll take it, but they just know the downside of a lost fight is slightly higher than in another point in time. Mid pushed in. Yeah, by Turtle.
Should be pretty easy side wave control for Cloud9. You see Perks on top side. Nocturne has both ult and teleport available, so you get the 2-for-1. You pop your ult, you use your teleport. Nobody else can teleport afterwards, and then you can still reactivate upon arrival at that dragon. 13 seconds left, and CLG, all of their vision resources constantly being spent at this Baron means that it's so hard for them to do anything about the dragon, and you kind of have to let that one walk away unless you face check brute force in. Cloud9 looking for the collapse, though.
Clever might get hit. They want Nocturne in. Whoa. Here we go. The dive comes across, and instantly, Vi has been deleted. The rest of this fight's going to look good for Cloud9 as well. 2 for 0 already. 1 traded back, but no. Just the Zonias, maybe a Guardian Angel, nothing else. Feathers don't hit much of anything, but Perk's going to find himself an easy kill on a Pobelter, most likely, as he chases him over the wall. Gets knocked up into the air, not even. Spell shields it. That's a close fight between the two. Regardless, the other half of that fight looks just as good. Finn left alone. Scarl's already left him. Now he's left the team as well. 5 for nothing. Cloud9 play the map well. They play the team fights well. They're just too rich to lose anymore. And C9 will not play for the Dragon. They will not play for the Baron. They will get the kills, and they will end the game through the mid lane.
Clean ace there for C9, and that means nobody's around to see the Nexus turrets fall.
Good job, Cloud9. 19 wins as they close out this week. The climb back has to begin somewhere, and a win over CLG will help with that one.
Certainly will. The most important step is not the first freak, it is always the next.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. They got to keep this one going up. I'm sorry, CLG. Last week was 3-0, and I'm excited to see the style. This week, though, 0-3, and, well, is it just play? Is the comp unwinnable now when teams are ready? I don't know, but Cloud9, the defending LCS champions, back on the exact same roster they won the LCS on. They win a close game against CLG, but they have, I feel like, still a lot of improvement to go.
I think a lot of people would be on board with that because the bar is set so high for Cloud9. I honestly think everybody agrees. Yes, there is a lot of room still to go, a lot of work to be done for this team because this was our team that won Spring, our MSI representatives. They want to be Worlds representatives for us. They want a championship. They want a banner up there. You got to win the LCS.
Perk said 6 trophies in 2 years.
That is a lofty goal to set for yourself. So can't be dropping trophies left and right if you want to keep up. I will also say for CLG, while yes, it seems like every team now is coming in with prepared answers for what they've shown, which again, we'd be disappointed if they didn't. There's an opportunity to innovate just next week.
Yes, of course.
A lot more strategies may become available. You know, get yourself out there. I know Finn is going to be willing to play some split pushers. I want to see if you can push the boundaries here because that also keeps the rest of the teams on their toes. It keeps the rest of our teams thinking and being creative and trying to deal with these things. So it forces, more innovation.
Right, and just to tunnel in on the CLG innovation point, because I think it's an interesting one, right? They still got the 3-0 week. Like, you can't just be like, well, they lost today, so clearly it wasn't good. It's like, did you see them crush everyone the time before? Like, they're one of 2 teams to beat 100 Thieves. Every other team hasn't done that, right? Like, there is something to be had. So, I want to see, yes, indeed, what they can do next week. If it has to change every week, hey, if they're the innovators, they can make it happen. Now, well done, well played to Cloud9. We're heading over to the stage to join Dash and Sven for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Freak. Sven, it's good to have you back, my friend. Glad to have you up here on the stage talking to me. Taking down CLG here. Let's start with what CLG has developed as a style. I think to some degree it was probably a known thing that or rather how they like to play. But I'm kind of curious, having had last week and this week to watch other teams attempt to dismantle it, what all Cloud9 had learned and planned to come in with.
Yeah, so CLG has created this kind of LCS version of Bronze Sodia, where they have like full hard engage. Everyone just goes in and they play like that, and they have some good plans from level 1. They make some good plays early game in the game. Broxah did a good path. He dodged our ward with Divide, and they have good early game, good level 1s, and they have this, this Bronze Sodia thing going for them, and they play pretty well, I think. But I do think that their champs are kind of handicapping them because they are worse champions, but they do have some strengths like the hard engage. But picking hard engage into champs like Saya and Nocturne can friend Galli ult, right, with the vision denial. So I think they have flaws, but it works for them.
So within that, just want to understand how you guys ultimately approached the game once you got into it, because there were those 2 quick kills that came over to Broxah, and that's kind of what, or rather how we saw this comp have success in the past, was when it had, those early advantages and therefore had the agency to just press R, go forward, and steamroll. At that point, when you took those, first couple deaths as a team, how did you guys recover? Where was the plan in order to claw it back?
I think we said give up 1 Drake. We gave up 1, I think it was 2nd Drake, and we looked for some plays in side lanes, try to get some kills, try to get some gold back, and because our comp outscales theirs really hard. Kled and Galio are kind of useless champs. Vi is also very useless.
Don't say that about my girl. Okay. Now it's fair.
Not useless, just very weak dispatch.
Okay. I like that a little bit more.
So we thought if we get to later stages, 3 items, 4 items, it's just kind of automatic win, and that's what happened. And Nocturne is like so strong in fighting around dragons. And last fight, you can see the chaos is just too much for those champs to function. So.
Now, taking a look at Cloud9 over the split, obviously it has been a little bit more rocky, especially when we compare it to Spring. But I am curious about the creativity and the experiments, for lack of a better word, that we've seen in terms of the way that you guys have approached Champion Select and pulling things out onto the Rift. I talked to Solo earlier about kind of the breadth of the meta and how that allows for creativity that we see from teams like CLG. But what do you think is going to be required of the top teams within a meta that seems so wide?
I think good soul lanes are probably the most important thing, because I think that right now soul lanes are very different than they usually are. Flex picks all over the top side. Top mid jungle can flex pick champs like Viego, Lee Sin, Nocturne. It's very important to be able to flex those. And for bot lane, I think that I'm a bit behind right now. I spent a lot of time playing, Kaiser Stun at MSI, so when I came back, it was different. And then I was in Academy for a while, and there I could play whatever I wanted, and it didn't really matter. So right now, I'm really behind the meta. I don't know how to play some of these matchups that well right now. So it kind of hurt the team this week in draft, but I'm confident that with just 1 week more, maybe 2 weeks more of scrims, we'll be back to somewhat of our spring form.
Well, final question. Let's talk about 1 week more, because next week is not only rivalry week here in the LCS, but also a big week for Cloud9 in terms of opponents. TL and TSM, coming off of an Immortals game, who this summer right now have one of the best records when it comes to isolating just the summer split, right? So I'm kind of curious, just for you, as you look ahead and you talk about those improvements that maybe you personally and the team need to make sure that you take down some of these big rivals in TSM and Team Liquid.
I mean, I think so far TSM and one of the teams have been playing the most solid league overall. I think Teal has shown some flaws here and there, and they also have a little bit of a roster internal issues. I'm not sure what's going on there, but them not having Alpha hurts them, and Santorin has his issues, which sucks, right? So I think TL is looking weaker than TSM so far, and I mean, I think we shouldn't be able to. I think right now we're worse than TSM and One of Thieves. That's just how it is. But I think if not next week, I think by the 3rd round robin, we will be the best team. I have a very good feeling about it.
It is a long split, 9 whole weeks,
Really
but it's good to see you guys pick up the win here. As you say, if this isn't the final form yet for Cloud9, I'm excited to see you guys ramp up to that. But congratulations on the victory here today, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
We're going to a break. When we come back, we're announcing the MasterCard Player of the Week, and we're hitting up the Bud Light Breakdown. We'll see you there.
Welcome back. After a wild weekend of games, it is time to recognize our MasterCard Player of the Week. And after an exceptionally tight vote, trust me, it was real tight, we are giving it to FBI. What a wonderful performance from him and all of 100 Thieves this weekend.
Yeah, overall, I mean, it was a tough one amongst the 100 Thieves players. But I gave it to FBI, I think, really early on in Game 1 and Game 2. It was the bot lane that carried. When they went up against Dig, it was that the Kaisa that went up a massively in CS difference, and then had those kills really early on. When it went up against C9, it was FBI's Kalista, who he's Nautilus, that took an advantage almost immediately. And those were tough games, especially versus Neo and Sven, who you expected a lot from, but it was FBI that solidified himself as the strongest AD carry, alongside who they come off as the strongest bot lane in the league.
Love to see him flexing the picks, the Lee Sin too. My quick question to you, though, I know Pastry Time has been an advocate of FBI being the best bot laner in the league. Are you aligned?
I'm aligned. I remember on that analyst desk when it was between him and Sven. I had a lot of faith in Sven, but of course, it's a competitive bot lane. I expect a lot of back and forth, especially as we get closer and closer towards playoffs. But FBI, I think what made it easy for me was the flexibility. That Lee Sin play that he made really early on in lane, very clean. And it makes it so now whenever they pick Senna, I don't know what they're going to play. And it's a nice kind of view of FBI and Hui in the bot lane.
You love to see it when the whole team is performing so well, too, that the vote for this is down to a razor thin.
There it is.
I don't even know what the phrase is for that. Anyway, we have a lot to break down, so let's go ahead and head on over to the Bud Light Breakdown on the other side. Hi, friends.
Why, hello there, and thank you very much. Welcome to the Bud Light Breakdown. We are going to dive into the post-match for C9 and CLG in just a brief moment, but I also wanted to give ourselves an opportunity to hit the Player of the Week because it was that contentious vote. And Mark, FBI, I think, as an AD carry over the last year, has really made a name for himself, and it gets solidified by things in terms of expanding his champion pool, the creativity, as well as still remaining dominant.
Yeah, I think the who's the best bot laner in the LCS debate has ended.
No
In my
longer
opinion,
discussion.
it's not. I'm like, it's not even close for me.
Oh,
And
okay.
I don't think it's for me. I think I put him first on my All-Pro ballot the last two splits even. So like, for me, it's pretty cut and dry.
I definitely did for last split. I can't remember this split before, but
Don't worry, we've got the receipts.
Yeah, I
You
know. Someone
figure
can look it
out.
up for me
Yeah.
because apparently my memory isn't working right now. But I did know that I voted him first All-Pro last split, and the reason is because I think in a way I almost underestimated how flexible he is, and we're seeing that this summer, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. And likewise, it's great to see him get that acknowledgement, but now we should turn our attention to the Cloud9 victory over CLG. This split has been tough for this squad, no doubt, with the substitution in the bot lane and even struggling to find a couple wins. With Sven back in the lineup, they are able to do it against CLG and against the Bongo comp, no less.
Yep, they out-bongoed the bongo comp.
Yeah.
I will say, like, when you look at, how are you going to counter the composition? You know, like, a bunch of melees is usually not the answer with your own engage and playmaking. Like, you would be like, oh, well, we're going to pick a bunch of kite or something else or split push.
Like IMT's comp. I thought that was a really good answer.
Right, but this is like, well, we also have a bunch of melee and engage.
Yeah.
And our AD carry maybe survives dive a little bit better with Xayah's.
That's what Sven called out, right? Is at least I have that
Yeah.
ultimate ability to, like, really stall out a fight and create space.
Yeah, but either way, I think that speaks to execution. Okay,
Yeah.
like, like you have a bunch of press R buttons, you're gonna engage on us. Well, our melees are gonna wait till the main engage happens, then we'll collapse in on you. And I think they showed that in a number of skirmishes.
I also think, just to return to Emily can't stop talking about lane priority, guess what Nocturne,
What does he do?
is good at is laning.
What could he possibly? Oh, who would have thought?
But yeah, this is actually a super messy game where it did kind of look like CLG would just be able to kind of continue their slow roll as you kind of do once you want to get this composition ahead. I thought in some of these fights, obviously, CLG could have executed them better, but then if you notice, after this engage, actually, when the fights start to turn for C9, it's because they're re-engaging at the right times. Like, they're choosing really, really good windows to do it. And I think, arguably, they actually showed better coordination with their own bongo response than the CLG
Anti-bongo, the slightly offbeat bongo here is what really wins them.
bongo.
Dueling drum.
Right, you let Vulcan die here, but then in comes the Nocturne, in comes the rest of their damage. And that's Emily's point. What they do so well is they offset the bongo beat.
They syncopated.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me. To bring in some more musical terms here.
Yeah.
No, but we've completely lost track of the analysis.
The point is, the re-engages, they were very good about kiting out the initial like Galio, Wombo, and stuff. And it forced CLG to start using some of their engage defensively. Like, anytime a Cloud is away from a fight, you're feeling pretty good.
That's not great for the Cloud. That just does not feel good.
And in some senses, I think this kind of brings back the age-old argument of, like, how valuable is it really to find these kinds of niche compositions that clearly have an effect when it's a surprise to other teams, right? Playing a big part in the 3-0 week for CLG last week, but then you've showed your hand, and you've given teams an extra week to start building around what they know you are going to bring in and start to dismantle it.
So I think my counter argument to that a little bit, it's not like a super hard counter, but it is like Mark and I talked about this going into this game, like you then have to perfect that style, right? Like you have to find, you already found one answer, now you have to tweak it so it can respond to a broader variety of compositions. And like, I do think I'm gonna keep harping on the lane priority thing, and also like Vi is not. I'm sorry, Dash. She's
No, it's
not
fine.
She's not a winning jungle matchup.
I'm gonna make this request now. I'm gonna make a graphic asset request. I need a lower third, and it's gonna be the lane priority lower third for Emily, and I just want it to
Emily
tick up.
checks in with lane priority this week.
Boom.
I did this in spring too with the Hecarim. I was like, stop picking losing lanes with Hecarim. I guess it's my thing now.
Drill it home.
I mean, to the point though, we were both talking also about the game. Like, we appreciate that CLG is sticking to it because sometimes teams get scared off after a single loss. I've been a part of teams where like you take a bad loss, it's not how scrims went, and you're like, oh, maybe we're wrong about this comp.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if CLG double down again heading into the next week because that is like full-on commitment at that point.
And I also do think like the end response to that is some of the best teams in the world are the ones that find a really specific play style, even if it doesn't necessarily look good every game. And like I'd love to point out 2019 FPX who continuously punted lane priority when Doinby would go roam. And, I hated it. I hated some of it. But they had really good responses. They figured out like the exact way they wanted to play that composition. They had Chris Bertien coming in to reset the lane, and then they started playing like a team, and they were incredibly aggressive. So I think when you do have a really specific play style that you want to end up playing, it's really all about tweaking it and, again, making so that it can respond to a variety of things, and also just so that you're always executing it well, because I would say this is not the best execution I've also seen from CLG in these team fights. I've seen them look a lot cleaner and a lot more organized as a unit.
Everybody flames and memes the niche play styles until it wins the world championship and becomes.
And then everyone wants to be Doinby.
Not saying that CLG is going to win the world meta, but or win the world championship.
You know that you are here meme for CLG?
Yeah.
Is it falling back down? Or are we still heading to world?
It's too early to tell. It's week 4, right? Give them another week. Like we said, let's refine. Let's respond to the counters that have come out. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the standings, 100 Thieves and TSM remain tied in first place, followed by Cloud9 and Team Liquid together in third. So still a very tight clump there at the top with the teams that, again, over the season, we largely expect to be there. Immortals, that 7-4 team coming into the day, did take a loss today, but still very much keeping pace when it comes to the Summer Split records.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so did TL, so it ends up being,
in that sense.
Yeah, like if we were just looking at Summer, they would still be up there. I do think that 100 Thieves right now are just kind of this like, they're pretty much where other teams have been in the past, where it's like, who is going to be next to be fed to the 100 Thieves wood chipper, because they're just like, they're so flexible and they look so well coordinated. So when they do bring out these like weird flexes, or when they do even make mistakes, like we pointed out in their FlyQuest game with that like topside dive where they're all going in like one by one, they're able to easily regroup and they're still playing really fast and loose. And that's so valuable to have as a team.
Absolutely. Now, I think, though, when we take a look at those standings, the more interesting thing to me, Mark, is the battle/race for 8th place. Because there is such separation between 7th and 8th, so it feels like pretty much everyone in the top 7 is going to make it into the summer playoffs. But you've got 2 teams tied at 9 wins, tied for 8th, and then you've got 1 team trailing in the Golden Guardians at 7 wins. This, at this point, could be anybody's game.
I think between those 3, it is a very difficult race to call because FlyQuest lost today, the Golden Guardians. They look really confused about what their team identity is, what their roster should be going forward. I know they tweeted like, hey, these guys are playing well in Academy, have some game time. But I also think there's a huge component of our LCS team is struggling really bad that is informing that decision that they didn't include in there. And so, if they're trying to make playoffs still, there's a big question mark what their roster should be. Golden Guardians, they're just steadily trying to improve. And then Dignitas, it feels like free fall. Or not Dignitas, excuse me, CLG.
Yeah.
Trying to find their own team composition while sticking to the same players.
Again, still 5 weeks to go, so plenty of time for all 3 of those teams to make their case for the top 8. We kicked off our weekend with Team Liquid challenging 100 Thieves, looking to knock them out of that top spot. That's coming up on Friday. That's a huge matchup in the face of rivalry week and the rivalries that will come. We're kicking it off with a pretty sweet one.
I'm also looking at the last matchup for the reasons that we just talked about, right? Like that fight for the playoff spots is like in full force for these teams. So I'm actually really curious to see how that matchup goes.
And for Team Liquid, it's about finding that kind of consistency. I feel like in general, you know, they have a positive win rate in summer. It's not like they're a bad team, but game to game, it does feel like individual performances vary quite a bit. Even drafts sometimes, like the draft today against TSM was just like, what the hell? And so, you know, I feel like
I was not a fan.
it's something that they're going to have to work out.
Absolutely. That's just the first 5 games, but Friday isn't the only day that's bringing the heat. It is rivalry weekend, everybody. So let's take a look at what we got coming up.
Cloud9 go for the victory march. They will take down their greatest rival in Team Liquid. And Cloud9 are your first mid-season showdown champions. Let's not forget that Team Liquid is the org with the longest standing streak of championships. This is a squad that was just absolutely uncontested for pretty much 2 years. Now they've got to bring that glory back.
Trading over here, 1v1. And this 1v1 goes to Jenkins. It's Jenkins Day, baby! Finds it on Gwen with the Akali.
Rematch of the mid-season showdown final with Cloud9 going up against Team Liquid. North America's richest rivalry, Cloud9 versus TSM.
So there's about 95 games worth of history between these teams. Every time these teams meet, it is like a verified slapper.
Harvey is very out. Tony kicks in. Goodbye to Syndra. Beautifully done, and now the rest of them will fall.
The day has come. The time has arrived. It is time for TSM versus Cloud9.
I'm really looking forward to rivalry weekend. Why'd
We
you
learned
laugh?
that
You broke.
it's really
You broke it.
difficult
Broke
to say
it.
I hated it so much.
rivalry.
I'm really looking forward to
You can't even
rivalry.
actually
I
say
can't
it. He's
say it.
making a joke, and you're...
I'm actually trying to say it.
Okay.
My mouth does
One
not
more
move
try.
that way. Rivalry week.
End.
Rivalry
done.
weekend.
Okay.
That's
I
actually
really think
really
it's going to be fun.
difficult to
If
say.
you couldn't tell it was the end of the weekend, I don't know what
I
else
know, Mark's
we could have
already
done to put you
done
in on
over
that.
here.
Mark is done for the day. Get out of my studio. But the weekend isn't quite over yet. It continues over at the Bud Light League Lounge with myself, the Tigress Raz, and our boy, Ablaliv, over at twitch.tv/BudLight. But that does it, or rather concludes our LCS games for the day. So on behalf of myself, the analyst, and the live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.